Hi, this is Troy Ray. I'm the pastor of Lakeshore Family Fellowship. I came across one of those scriptures this week that maybe I'm the only pastor that this happens to. It could be. But I looked at it and I said, I don't want any part of that. Not meaning that I personally didn't believe what it said, but as a pastor, I didn't want to preach it. I didn't want to talk about it. Maybe I have reached an age where cynicism is becoming a factor in my life and my thinking, or possibly, I'd like to think so. I've reached a point where I'm actually perhaps gaining as much wisdom as I am folly in life. You can be the judge. It's a passage of scripture where Jesus said that if your brother or sister sins, go to them and show them their fault, and you will have regained them, meaning that they won't fall away from the faith or the fellowship. Then he goes on to say that if they won't listen to you, get two or three more people and go back, and then try. And then it says that if they still won't listen, haul them up in front of the church and handle it there. And then it says if they won't listen, then you treat them like, you treat them like an outcast, with the hope that they will at some point change their mind and turn back. Well, I look at that and I see, oh yeah, that's going to happen. And I suppose I'm guilty of thinking more about reality than the hope of an ideal. See, it occurs to me that people may, and I think in cases do, take up an offense or an observation of someone making a bad mistake and going to that person and having a conversation. I think some people do that. I think it may be kind of rare. But then I think about the possibility or the likelihood that that person rejects them, and then the person goes back with two or three more. And then the possibility of the person being hauled up in front of the church, and I say to myself, I just don't see that happening. I don't see people responding to that. Now, I think a lot of it has to do with our culture, our idea of individualism, our idea of being our own boss. Other cultures value the collective wisdom of the community. But be that as it may, the point that it leaves me at is, if it's so hard for us in our human nature to yield to the input of others, then we better do a good job at the first step of going to someone else with a humble, loving heart, with their betterment in mind. Likewise, living with a cognizance that we make mistakes and that we're not always aware of our mistakes. and we may need to be corrected from time to time. I think that's the only way that this passage of Jesus is going to be honored in our culture, in life today. So we need to do a good job on step number 1. I love you. We'll talk some more